This comes after Ryan Clark, all right? Got fired from ESPN. He sat down on the pivot and had a very detailed conversation about his transition from ESPN, and he started crying during the process of talking about it. So, Shady McCoy, like the internet is divided. Some people is like, bro, this is how you explain yourself, and this is the emotions. And some people are saying, like, bro, Ryan Clark is doing it for the clicks. Cam, what's your thoughts on what Shady McCoy had to say about Ryan?
All right, here we go. Now, I have to be the one to tell my point of view.
Okay.
I only know how.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start with Shady. Okay. Shady is doing a job that requires him to give his opinion about a topic. Who am I to tell him that he's not able to do it how he wants to do it, say it, or present it?
Okay, I see that.
Do I agree with it? No, I don't. But I can see where he's coming from. He feels like it was more staged than actual feelings. Now, I did watch the whole 47 minutes and some change of the pivot and how Ryan Clark distinctively talked about his time at ESPN.
If y'all haven't watched that, first of all, support the pivot, support Fred Taylor, Shannon Crowder, and of course, Ryan Clark. But that's a really good interview. Not even interview. It felt like an interview because them two were asking questions to Ryan, but he really went inside of what he thought, what he felt, and he was vulnerable. That's why it was a really good 47 minutes. I watched it, and I don't really watch a lot of full episodes of anything. I watched it because I was like, damn, he really went through it. Like, he took you through the roller coaster he was going through. Worth a watch.
For 12 years.
Yeah.
Him, Channing, Fred, got the utmost respect for those guys. And I didn't like something about that interview.
Well, hold on. What is that?
What's up?
I hated how, even though it was so true, I hated how Ryan Clark's vulnerability and some of the things that he was relaying in his message got him to, in some ways, this was my visual of how I saw it. This man was forced to
Careful. Huh?
I feel like Ryan Clark was brought to his knees in front of the world and made an example numerous times at ESPN. And when he talks about these things, that's what I didn't like. Because his truth is his truth.
Oh, I shouldn't pause it, but fair use. I don't want to get cut off part one. But part two is, if anything, before Cam just said this, I would have thought Ryan Clark had carte blanche. Like, he was saying whatever he wanted. He was interrupting Monday Night Football to get something off his chest. How many times have we seen Ryan Clark hit him with the Desmond Howard? Hold on, dog. Hold on. Ryan Clark was getting away with so much, he started saying stuff that he knew he shouldn't say. What did he say to Peter Schrager before he said what he said to Peter Schrager? He said, I know I just want to apologize before I say this because I know we shouldn't be saying this on TV. You talking about brought to your knees? That boy was standing 10 tippy toes down. He was flying. His feet were off the ground. He was high. But I'm going to listen, Cam, because you know you're my favorite. But really?
When he said certain things that I couldn't be too black, couldn't respond to disrespect, as if to say, when I watch the pivot, I love to tune in to see what they have to say about certain topics. They had to dial it back some because of the sensitivity or because of the state that Ryan Clark was in.
Okay, good. Perfect. That's what we want. This is film study, y'all. Y'all can call me whatever you want. You're going to come watch the film. That's what coaches say. I don't care if we win or lose, we're going to watch film. Cam, you just said he needed to stop talking about certain topics. That was your quote. Like we do in film, ain't no commentary. Come on, Cam. That ain't it. He didn't need to do anything. He wanted to because the incentives were changing. When the incentives were to talk about social and political things a certain way, you saw him going there, going hard. Everyone started to see the change of tide. Everyone saw the sea change. And then everyone also saw the headwind now if you talk about it that same way. Therefore, some people jumped out the game, stopped talking about it completely. Some people altered, like Ryan Clark. And some people were sitting there with that resentment, even though they knew that this ain't the season. You don't believe me? Before Kaepernick, maybe it was Kaepernick, but it could have been some other incident. But Kaepernick to George Floyd, you know the era. Get up on, I worked at ESPN. Get up on ESPN and start talking that talk. Start talking, hey, this is for the community. I'm just speaking for the people. Do that in like 2010. What? Yeah. Then you be like this. You just be walking to work, got your makeup on, got your suit on. You be like, what? Like Jet Li up in there or something. Come on, man. Come on, man. Nah. In the film session, and Cam, my dog, just like me criticizing Barry Sanders right now. I'm like, Barry, that's a negative play. You should have, the hole was there. You doing Barry. I get it. I get it. This is how coaches talk to their great players. Hey, I get it. It works most times. But right now, Barry, hit that hole. Hit that hole next time. You okay with that? That's how I feel talking about Cam when I say something. But Cam, you are wrong. Ryan didn't need to stop being and talking about those things. He wanted to, just like he wanted to when it was working for him. In essence, saying, I'm not able to be me. I hated that. I also hate it when he goes into it and he says, even trying to adjust more or certain people, even trying to adjust more for certain people wanted to, and they still fired me. So I hated that revelation because it was true. And even times when certain people say, Cam, bro, you doing too much, dog. Cam, why you dressing the way you dress, bro? No. Cam, why you growing your hair the way you growing your hair? I hated that Ryan Clark got bumped to embarrassment and shame in front of the world numerous times, and he spoke about it. I love that. And now, when you got a person like me that said, I ain't cut my hair for what? I ain't gonna stop wearing my hats for what? I ain't gonna change the way I talk for what? Because you're gonna do what you're gonna do anyway. He's right about his point, but I don't know how he got there. I remember I got drafted in 1997. I don't know if you guys remember this guy. He was a tight end that played for the Atlanta Falcons. He got drafted from Kent State, maybe. O.J. Santiago. I think he won a ring. We had the same agent. We worked out together. Point being, he cut his hair. He was a Canadian, yeah. And he cut his hair. And we was like, he had dreads. And we was like, why you cut your hair? And he was like, you know why I cut my hair. And we was like, oh, okay. Just to get drafted, just to look the part, whatever. Obviously, things have changed or things were okay then. He just was paranoid. Point being, I get where Cam is coming from Cam's perspective, but I don't remember these moments that he keeps mentioning for Ryan where he got embarrassed. If Ryan chooses not to talk about a topic, we don't even know if Ryan was going to talk about it or not. We can assume, oh, here you go, Ryan going to talk about that. But if he doesn't, is that embarrassment? Is that embarrassing that all of a sudden you can't talk on things? Another point, be real. Here's another point. Don't confuse your audience. And this can happen easily, especially in social media. You could be here talking. I'm talking to you and I'm talking to what I'm hearing and seeing. But don't confuse your audience when you're working for major media like Cam was and Ryan Clark was and still is, whatever. If you're at ESPN, you may be thinking you're just talking to the camera. You're just talking to the audience. No, you're talking to the bosses. Do they like what they're hearing? Whatever it is, some bosses like it gangster. Some bosses want it confrontational. Jamie Horowitz loved to see debates, articulate, intelligent, high-level debates. Some bosses, I know I had other bosses that just wanted to see that you guys are having a good time. that it felt like, oh, wow, that's a party I want to join. They all different. That's why cats get fired and hired. Like Stephen A was gone because them bosses didn't like that. And then another bosses swear by him. So it's not really you as much as you think it is. You all up in your own feelings in your own head when it's really some dude who just got power. I give it to you like this. I know people with a lot of money, way, way insane, with a B, billions. They know that they're kingmakers. They know that I could just invest in that company right now and give them 10 million. They'll give me a return of investment and they'll end up making 100 million. They know that. And 10 million to him is nothing. And 100 million to the other people is going to be everything. That boss knows you losing your job to him is nothing. But your job to you is everything. It's a power conversation, man. But I think that Ryan lost sight of the audience. He started playing it just for his people, just for the community. Them bosses is watching too. And last time I checked, I only know one up there that was your people. Only one.
So now, when you have these type of situations that happen in front of the world, now you realize like, okay, I knew what it was. I know that nothing is permanent. From the teams, the organizations, the programs. This is a business. You can't tie your emotions into business. And I think Ryan Clark naturally did that. Does that make him a bad person? Absolutely not.
No.
Do you want to critique him for crime? Absolutely not. Because when I look at the whole situation from inside the camp and outside the camp, we always ask men and ask people to be honest, be vulnerable, tell your truth. So I can't tell Ryan, man, don't be. No, I ain't getting mad at that. I'm getting mad at how they played with that man.
All right, I'm going to stop belaboring that point, but I'm going to say this. People are not mad that Ryan cried. People are mad that Ryan is crying again. Right? And really, the real reason people are mad at it and they're calling him out like LaShawn McCoy, which you're responding to, is because he like, dog, the stuff you crying about, I've experienced. And no one can tell you how to feel, but we like, dog, if that's cry level, stop. You're trying to act like you're not sensitive. You're just responding to real impact and real issues against you, real things that really hurt you. And then the other people, they don't want to say it, but they really want to say, nah, that shouldn't have hurt you. Like Sean said, you've been in the NFL before, you've been cut before, you were undrafted free agent before. Like, what are you talking about? Like,
that's what I'm mad at. Because what he was talking about is what his experience was while at ESPN. So,
I got to stop hearing this. Is a lot of stops, but forget it. I don't care. That's what's wrong with our society right now. We have lost objectivity. By being so inclusive, we haven't included common sense, right? So everybody knows people who either rage bait or they're gaslighters, right? Kids are the best examples. If your kid is expecting a popsicle, you say, no popsicle, you haven't had lunch yet. Someone can walk in right then and say, why is that baby crying? And they're crying so much they can't even tell you. And then you sitting there, what's wrong? You okay? You okay? What is wrong? Finally said, Daddy. And then you're like, what Daddy do? And you're like, Daddy said, I can't have a popsicle. And you're like, man, if you don't get out of my face. That's what people want to say about this. They're like, dog, you got fired. Okay. Everybody got fired. You ain't the first, you ain't the last. Oh my God. That's what it is. That's why people are tripping.
As I sit up here and I sit back and I say, man, welcome to 4th and 1. Well, this is me. You can't Pinocchio me, brother. I'm not going to allow that to happen Because in my mind, you have to ask this question. How much adjustment, augmentation, cutting and giving, well, I could change that a little bit. How much are you willing to change? And then you realize the person that you changed into, that ain't even you.
Do you feel like you changed yourself?
Hell no.
Not at all to be on TV.
No. And everybody knew that.
That's real. But then Ryan can't blame them for him changing. You gonna blame your bosses or ESPN? Who you blaming? You changed. Nobody told you to be who you were. Nobody telling you who to be now. I'm just telling you, you can't be either one of them here. You gotta go. Bye. ESPN said bye. Okay, dog. But you talking about, oh man, they ain't let me be myself, or worse, I stopped being myself because I just wanted to keep the job. Hey man, these are the breaks. Like, that's their gig, not yours. You're borrowing it. They're giving it to you, and they could take it away.
So I could take my L, and I could go on and roll off in the sunset and say, man, ESPN, thank you. BET. Thank you.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
Anybody, Carolina Panthers. New England Patriots.
Yeah.
Thank you. Auburn University. Florida. Blink. Westlake.
Talk your talk.
North Lake.
Talk.
Solid Rock.
Talk. 6 million ways to die. Choose one. I used to think my favorite quote was, life is a competition between you and yourself. And it got me all the way to like my 50s, like to 49 or 50. That was it. But now I went back full circle to my college years when that song came out. 6 million ways to die, choose one. Ding, 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 ding. It said, it's time to escape, but I don't know where the funk I'm headed, up or down, right or left, life or death. What? Oh. Whoa, that's critical condition rap Tourette's. All right, let me stop. 6 million ways to die. Fired, cut, heartbreak, divorce, problems at work, traffic, condition. You can pick 6 million ways to die today. Would still been alive, your heart beating, but can't see the kids, can't go here, can't go there. They ain't got enough for that. And you know what you're supposed to say? 6 million ways to die. Choose one. And you gonna choose the one that ain't gonna be nothing else after it. That's when you die. When you dead. You don't die all while you living. That's what people want to say to Ryan. How you gonna die over this and you still living? 6 million ways to die. Choose one.
Thank you. I've been me since me could even be. So now, that's what I took issue with. Mm-hmm. Of course, it looks disingenuous when another man cries. It's like, oh man, here you go, doing it for clicks. What? Who am I to tell Shady? Man, you can't say that about that dude, bro. But they got history. Mm-hmm. Whether he likes him or not, cool. That's no different than Rex Ryan talking about Shedeur Sanders. Everybody got their preferences, and everybody's entitled to have their own opinion.
Correct.
So speak about that. But what I'm seeing from Ryan Clark that I hated is that you got this man that's willing to buy in and change certain things about him. Now, I don't talk about social justice. No, I don't do this. I don't do that. These are things that he covered in his interview. And the pivot don't pay me, but I'll say it's a great watch for anybody who wants to see Ryan Clark's take on the matter. Mm-hmm. Go tune into the pivot. But as I was observing it, these are the things, man, they brought this man, they changed this. It was like,
did anything resonate with you? Like when you were hearing this story, like did anything was like, dang, I felt that same way. Or that
they tried.
You know what? This feels like a part two. Yeah. He got a lot to get off his chest right now. So I'm a part two that one. Part two coming. Thank you, Cam. Let me tell you what I feel in summation. I don't get into any altercations and fights and all that kind of stuff, despite what you have heard. And the reason I don't is because of my process. My process is I'm very accountable. First with me, self-accountability. Thank you, Charles Wiley. Charles Vernon Wiley, my dad, is Mr. Accountable. I've not heard one excuse from that man ever in my life, and I'm not even being hyperbolic. My daddy, right is right, wrong is wrong. That's it. I don't even want to hear it. And it didn't matter if it were me or him or anybody. He ain't pulling no punches, showing no favor. Right is the favor. Wrong is wrong. So usually my friction comes through the process. Basically, if I'm gonna have a problem, it's gonna be in practice. Because we gonna work this out. In the game, I'm like Wade Phillips. Wade Phillips used to say this. He's like, guys, if I'm yelling at you on Sundays, that means I ain't do my job during the week. My dad used to look at Wade Phillips. Why you don't wear a headset? Why he never reprimand y'all and yell at y'all? Y'all be messing up sometimes. And I was like, Daddy, Wade believes in preparation. That's the separation. So if we all there huffing and puffing and producing when it's moment time, you didn't do your job before. If you got to yell at your son, hey, box out, hey, catch yourself. We all are guilty. Catch yourself. That boy should have been knowing how to box out during the week. Now, you can remind him to do it, but at the same time, he should know. It shouldn't make you lose your way. My summation is Ryan Clark, and what Cam is seeing is this man is entitled to feel the way he feels and display it the way he wants to display it. My summation is, yes, but we still got to have a decorum, which comes with borders, objectivity, or else it's going to be the Wild Wild West. Deion Sanders understands this. Deion Sanders tells his kids, don't be wearing house shoes around here or else. Get them do-rags off your head or else. Walking around here with them AirPods, just not paying attention in the back of the class or else. And I know it doesn't sound right, and culturally it hurts, and socially it doesn't feel good, but I'm just telling you, it's the way I think. There's certain things we just ain't gonna do. There's certain things you just can't do. And we have lost that ability as a consensus to say what you can't do. So now people doing anything. I don't know what just happened, but I have seen so many horror stories, and maybe it's just because it's happening more or it's just getting covered more. Horror stories in this world. Families wiping themselves out. People just losing their way. And I think it's because they're like, what way? Like we are demeaning, we are undermining the value of life every day. Because frankly, what are we abiding to? You can make that religious, or they took God out of school. You can make that socially. Oh man, don't say that to her. Listen to her. I knew it was going to get to this place and it's going to get worse when they start taking words away. When you couldn't say certain words. And you're like, what? Because now you start to lose. If you lose what a word means, then how's it go? Thoughts, words, actions. What are the words? The power of the words is they connect the thoughts to the action. So now we thinking different. So we're going to act different. Oh, too deep. All right, let me go into some sports. Y'all don't understand what I'm doing.